welcome to the
Right,
Runescape
let's have a look.
roadmap reveal for 2024.
What's going to happen?
Yep, the time is finally here. We are in the studio. Mod Hooli has come a very long way. We are live. We are live in the studio, ready to drop a bunch of content news your way. So, thank you so much for rocking up to the stream, interrupting your KBD Flash event and whatever skilling you were doing. I saw you in the chat. It's so lovely to have you here.
Yeah, it definitely is. Look, we know this has been a few months of time with no real longer view ahead. We know that's something
Can you
we
hear it
really
now?
wanted to see, and so we're not going to mess around today. This isn't a summit style stream. This is more of us getting on camera, wanting to be out there in front of all of you and answer your desires for a roadmap in person, or as in person as we can get, at least from this point. So we're going to spend a quick 5 to 10 minutes providing a bit of context on what's coming up, and then we're going to get right into it. We're talking full roadmap reveal, all in one, within the first 15 minutes of the show. Then we're going to get into a discussion to provide some more details on what to expect from the content we announce. So we don't want to keep you waiting any longer than we have to.
I'm devastated because the say roadmap one more time Doomgun meme is dead in like 10 minutes, and it's parting is such sweet sorrow. I'm going to miss that meme so much.
It is, I know.
You guys get the roadmap, so
The death of a meme.
The death of a very good meme.
But seriously, Scapers, your patience has meant a lot to us, and we're really grateful for you joining us here today. So, with that said, we said we won't make this quick, so let's get into it. We have a little someone to introduce you to first. We're going to open with a new guest. I'm going to say a quick hello to Mod Marcus. Mod Marcus, hello. Do you want to give us a little introduction? Who are you?
Hello there. Yeah, so I'm Mod Marcos. So for the last couple of years, I've been the executive producer on Old School RuneScape, and recently I've begun working on RuneScape 2.
Fantastic. So
RuneScape 2.
The immediate question is, what are you up to here on RuneScape? What does you being here mean?
So mostly recently I've been working with the team, so in particular with a focus on the general mission to try and make RuneScape a lot more player-centric in how we develop the content. It's just something that the team's been working on in quite a meaningful way over recent times in the last year or so. And one of the other goals of me working with the team is to try and bring over some of the best practices from Old School to RuneScape where that's kind of appropriate. And today's kind of the start of that really. So Old School over the last couple of years, we've been trying to make an effort to have quite a degree of transparency around like upcoming roadmaps. We've been talking to players like 6 months or so in advance about what's coming to the game. And we want to do something similar here to what Old School's been doing over during the summits we do twice a year.
Fair
Fantastic. Well, so that really means that we can look forward to some pretty decent visibility. So what can we expect in terms of announcements? How far ahead are we looking to give players visibility into our content plans?
Yeah, so the announcements the team will be talking about today will be going through to the end of 2024. And apart from some smaller updates, which will be more like quality of life improvements or more opportunistic things, this will be pretty much everything we're releasing for the rest of the year. When we get to RuneFest in September, we'll be looking to make, as part of our keynote, we'll be announcing like the key beats for 2025. And then it's also, after that, we'll be looking to move towards something, again, more similar potentially to Old School, where there's like a summit type format where we'll be doing roadmap reveals on a more regular basis. So a couple of times a year, I would imagine. We're still exactly finalizing how that's going to work. And then also, it's probably also worth highlighting that after this live stream, we'll be sending out the
they've just started,
the RuneScape survey, which will be similar to what we've been doing of Old School for quite a few years now. And that's a kind of like long form survey, which allows players to give detailed feedback on firstly what they think of the roadmap we're revealing today, but also kind of future updates. And that will allow us to work with the team and figure out like what the most popular updates will be in the future that the players are most excited about.
Yeah, really exciting, and especially to hear things like summits and everything being something we're looking forward to. We'll have more on that survey and some other opportunities to add your voice to our content development to detail later in the show, so stick around for that. Speaking of which,
over 5,000 people in here.
Players
They
expect
have
from
to
us
come
this
out
year
with
in terms
something
of
good.
how we'll operate. What does this all player influence development stuff actually mean?
Well, yeah, good question. So again, it'll be similar to Old School. We'll be taking pieces of the process that work well with Old School in terms of particularly around like player consultation as being part more of the development pipeline. So this would be when we're looking at potential updates and ideas we're talking to the community about it earlier on. And we're also looking to make sure there's much more regular dialogue with the players in terms of more regular blogs, hopefully be able to do more live streams and things as well. And then, yeah, so it's not just roadmaps, it should be the general, like, the level of discussion with the players and the frequency of interaction stuff should increase. Just to be clear though, because I've seen some chatter about this on Reddit and stuff previously, we won't be taking the polling system from Old School. That's an Old School unique thing really. But we will be much more using things like Discord discussions, blogging, and the survey that I've just mentioned earlier as part of informing our decision making, so it's much better aligned with kind of what players want from the roadmap and things as well.
Yeah.
Why is someone
So,
gifting loads
coming
of
into this,
subs in their chat?
I think it's fair to say that when we've spoken to players, a lot of the feedback has been around the fact
Oh,
that
that's
we've provided
hilarious.
much less forward visibility on our content plans,
Yeah.
and things have felt a little bit more sporadic. And we've really heard that from the players, and so we want to make sure that that's something we're putting a lot more focus and attention on. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. So what we're ultimately looking to do is move the game towards just a much more regular release of cadence of content. So you'd be looking at a meaningful piece of content going into the game each month, and that would be, when we say meaningful, that means like a permanent piece of content rather than something ephemeral like a temporary event or something. So generally we'd be looking to make sure there's something meaningful going into the update each month, and then during the other weeks we'll be looking at smaller, more opportunistic updates to make sure that there's just a much more regular beat in terms of like meaningful updates going to the players. And then we're also looking at trying to find ways to bring more of like the community hit list improvements and things into the roadmap on a regular basis as well. So again, that'll be working closely with the community and CM and so on to kind of deliver that.
Look, I think all really good stuff. We want to get to the roadmap. We've got a content-hungry audience out there,
They're
but I think
popping off
there,
in chat.
yeah, we
Literally
see you
going off in chat.
However, I think there is one really important question to ask you. You know, we've seen this real fear out there that, you know, this is a game 23 years into life that we all deeply love. And there's this fear that, is it being wound down? Are we going some sort of maintenance mode towards kind of a less content-driven eventual death, maybe even? Can you assure players that that's not RuneScape's current trajectory? Because I think that's really important to the audience at home.
Yeah, so I can categorically say RuneScape is not in maintenance mode. Like, it's extremely important to like me, the team, Jagex as a whole, and I hope you'll feel that from the roadmap we're sharing today, that there's a lot of life in the game, and that we've got a lot of ideas around where it can go, and like really cool updates that all the players.
They're
will
really
enjoy
building up.
And from a personal perspective, I've
I
worked
hope it
at
doesn't
Jagex
backfire
for
on them.
many years now. So I joined way back in the day in like the early Jurassic
Because
era.
they're
And I
now
think
saying
there
that they're
was,
going to release meaningful
and I've
content
worked,
every month.
Many years ago on
and
RuneScape.
they're
worked for
going
RuneScape
to
for a number of
reassure
years and
us
went
with the
on to some other
roadmap that the
projects
game
beforehand,
isn't going to
back old
die.
school, and now I'm obviously back on
If they
RuneScape.
now don't deliver,
And from my personal
can
perspective,
guarantee
the
there'll
game
be
means a lot to me.
outrage.
Like, I've spent a lot of my life working in it. It's quite close to my heart, and I want to see it kind of thriving and successful, obviously, for many, many years. And I'm ambitious for the game in the same way as I was when I began working on Old School a few years ago. Like, I want to see it be really
Awesome.
successful and grow over a number of years. And in particular, we want to be, obviously, as always, with the RuneScapes, what's made them successful is their connections to the community and being really close to what the community wants and what the community needs, and making sure we're kind of embodying that spirit as well as possible. And obviously, over a lot of the time this year has been essentially like getting ourselves ready to kind of like reshape exactly how we're working, and then kind of like getting to this point where we can kind of like public-facing kind of release of the roadmap, and hopefully all the players really like it.
Yeah, and I know you're a big believer in action and not words. And
the
obviously
data
we're talking
server
to you
shut
today
down,
talking
I'm
about our
getting a tattoo.
intentions, but very much. Hopefully the roadmap will be a first showing.
those
in
of
that
you
regard
watching on
and we'll keep
YouTube,
going.
I am live on Twitch with my community.
I'm
whilst
sure
you
a lot
watch
of players
this.
out there
if you
at
want
the
to hear
very
what I'm
least are very
talking
happy to hear that. So Marcus, thanks so much for taking time to be here at the open of the show. Really appreciate you joining us. For anyone who would like a deeper insight and would like to kind of keep this conversation going, we'll be sitting down on a Discord stage, Marcos and I, on Friday, to dive into all those details a bit more. So we didn't want to kind of get in the way of getting the content roadmap out to you too late into the show, but it will be a conversation we'd love to continue with you on Friday if you're interested in going behind the scenes.
Okay, Huli is officially the CEO of Yap. He can talk. I'm not going to finish that analogy. He can talk. Let's get to the roadmap already. Chat is going crazy.
It sounds like a plan, yeah. I mean, production. So let's start with what we've already announced.
A little bit as a treat.
Yeah,
Everyone can
let's
have a little
start.
bit
Let's
of
start with
roadmap
a
as
couple
treat.
pillars. So here we go. No more yapping.
Oh, we're actually doing this. Okay, I'm going to go over what you know as quickly as I can here. We're going to be really quick with this. Okay, right. Osseous,
story
the
quest.
fourth matriarch, is dropping on May 28th. That's a Tuesday because there's a bank holiday. I'm very sorry. Osseous comes with a very small quest where you uncover her lair.
New combat
then it's down
boss.
to fighting a new mid-level boss with your newly acquired necromancy powers. It looks awesome. Then, in June, we're also dropping the Demonheim Archaeology Site, which is 2 new locations in which you'll uncover a bunch of artifacts, uncover mysteries, and even get a new relic power. And then, of course, the other bits that you know already. We've got the beach coming up instead of a brand new summer event. We spoke about this before. And we've got some extra stuff for Pride. But now, let's get on to the bits you don't know. Let's show some new stuff.
Wow, we
Ooh.
got the first pillar coming up straight away. So we got some really exciting stuff to come this summer. Our new boss dungeon, the Sanctum of Rebirth, is a spin on an elite dungeon where you'll take on 3 unique bosses across both normal and hard difficulties. What is that spin? Instead of traversing through areas packed with mobs to get to the boss fights, you'll go straight from boss fight to boss fight. This is pure bossing, front to back. Expect new tier 95 weapons, maybe something beyond that too.
Wait.
Also on that front, we've also
New
got
tier
new skilling
95
content
is something
on the way
beyond
from mining
it?
and smithing. Now, we know skillers have been asking us for more reasons to use existing skills, so we're putting a concerted effort into more regular releases for our skills. In our mining and smithing release, we'll release new ores to mine, new bars to create, new armor and equipment to craft, and yes, even something that I was going to say right now, but I'm going to say for the devs later on. Stay tuned for our chat afterwards, where we'll go more into our plans and our intention to gather player feedback on ways we could add this content to the existing skills.
So, separate to those releases, people in chat are already talking about it. You're getting ahead of me. How dare you? We're also prioritizing 2 updates we know you've been asking for a very long time. Yes, the City of is getting area task. We are completing the area task set for the City of and delivering that 4th conjured spirit that you've been asking for. 106 Necromancy's mysterious entry is finally getting filled, and you're going to get your 4th conjure. Rejoice!
You know what? Take the next one.
Oh,
you can take the next
if you insist.
You take the next one.
New skilling
This
boss.
autumn, we'll be releasing our 2nd ever skilling boss into RuneScape. This skilling boss will be tied into the narrative that we establish within the Sanctum of Rebirth. We're still in the early stages of development this one, but we are so excited and have plenty of plans to discuss how we're going to approach this skilling boss with you, the community, especially when it comes to our reward system. We cannot wait to chat to you about this one.
Just to jump in as well, we've got RuneFest on there. It's not content, but it's RuneFest. Could not mention it on the roadmap, could we? So,
Absolutely.
big shout out to
If they
RuneFest.
didn't
We're
mess
back
up the
on the
ticket
content
selling,
train. We've also
then
got a new
it would
story
actually
quest
be
this
hyped,
autumn,
but
which is going to be picking
maybe
up
I'll
from
get a ticket.
Requiem for a Dragon. I have to say 4, because if I say of a dragon, I'll get told off. We'll be venturing into the Sanctum and learning more about this new skilling boss we talked about earlier. And the last pillar, last but by certainly no means least.
For this next one, just before we reveal it, we're going to be a bit cheeky. We've got an update we're going to hide to the end. You'll get why when you see it. I promise this is not a major update moment. There are no major update moments coming here. I'm sure chat's still going to go full O on this anyway, but there is something we're going to show you right at the end of this. We're not waiting to the end of the show, just to the end of this roadmap reveal. So let's go to the next pillar.
New Necromancy Slayer helm upgrade.
Remember when we mentioned those skilling updates earlier? Well, yeah, we're gonna jump in here with another reason. Wood cutting and fletching are going to be getting another one. This one's further out than mining and smithing, so we're light on details. Trust us on this. Let us cook. Please, chat. Let me cook. But it'll add a similar style of content here too. Skilling content for skillers. What a win. And of course, the most powerful time of the year, when my power reaches its absolute limit, the happiest time of year, it's Halloween! It's getting the seasonal event treatment. We're talking season quest, event hub, memorable characters, a whole bunch of spooky feelings.
I love
I
Halloween.
got all dressed up like this, and it's nothing to do with Halloween, so I'm going to be even more over the top when we get to this. We'll be taking a smaller scale approach this year, given how much focus we want to put on permanent content, but it is desperately in need of so much love, so we couldn't leave it behind. So I'm looking forward to that one.
You get the next pillar as well,
Oh,
because
you're
I'm getting the
treating me.
hidden
New
thing.
story quest.
And then in winter 2024, not winter 2017, all 5 or 6 weeks of what winter's going to be, because we've had winter, feels like a lifetime now, so hopefully we're not back in winter too quickly. But
sex
we're
chat.
going to be dropping another story quest to continue the narrative of our autumn story quest. So still plenty coming questers, and Lorehounds, Pride Slayers probably
Christmas
going feral in
Village.
chat right now. I don't even have to look. And then finally, we've got the return
Underground
of
Jewel
the
Arena.
beloved Christmas Village from 2023. Now that we've invested some time into setting up our beloved hub for Christmas, our efforts here are going to be some small updates, new rewards, another new seasonal quest, pretty much the treatment you expect next year for our newly established seasonal events rolling on from here on out.
Yeah, I think it's a really important point. That's why we set up those hubs. We also heard your feedback as well about that balance that Marcus also talked to as well, so that's really cool. Look, we've almost reached the end of the roadmap. We have one last reveal to make. Before we do, I just want to say a big shout out to the team behind this. There's a lot of heart and soul that's been poured into this roadmap and a lot of listening to what you might want to see, a real focus on variety. And we hope the work that's gone into making sure this is significant content paired with kind of other smaller releases that you also care about comes through. As I mentioned, that kind of real focus on trying to deliver on variety. There is that one last spot to fill in on the picture though.
I think chat
Chat, brace yourself. I'm excited to see what you think.
I'm going to be intrigued to see how many folks in chat have already got this.
You called me the yapping one. You're keeping it on 10x. What are you doing? Let's drop the reveal.
Roll it.
So here it is. Boom.
Yes!
You are getting a
Group
brand
Iron Man.
new
Let's go.
mode. Later
They're
this year,
listening.
we will launch
They're actually
Group
listening.
Iron Man for RuneScape. This is going to be about you gathering your
Let's
friends,
go.
starting your group, and re-experiencing RuneScape with only your blood, sweat, and tears to get you through. We are so excited to deliver this long-requested game mode.
I'm going to have to screenshot this.
10 years after the release of the original Iron Man in RuneScape. And I hope you are all very excited to go relive RuneScape with your friends this way.
I've just seen one person in chat go past saying, no, I don't have friends. I'll play with you. We are so bad.
LFG systems, I think we need some grouping systems.
Let's get some groups going. If anyone had that on their bingo card, I would be shocked. Who leaked it? It's probably Sponge.
Oh my God, this is a very, very good roadmap.
Look at that.
I was optimistic. They've smashed it.
My eye.
Chat is mad fun right now, and that's the chat we love to see. Look, we are super glad this got you hyped. This is something we were also excited to commit to when we kind of put this together. We hope what we showed today made that wait a little less painful. We know it was a wait, and we know at times it was frustrating, but hopefully you're really excited about what we're delivering for the rest of the year. We are really excited about it. We're really, really proud of this one. We hope this.
When are we looking? Autumn for Group Iron Man.
All of you as well.
Absolutely. And obviously, we said you were going to have a look at the roadmap. You've got to look at it. Don't go anywhere. Please stick around. There's still a lot that we want to talk about. We're going to be chatting with some of the developers from the RuneScape team.
I'm actually hyped for Group Iron Man. That is going to be so fun. And then there's so much content from that.
Contribute in shaping the future of some of these content releases.
Because you can't. It's going to be amazing.
Beyond, actually.
They got all that new content, and then Group Iron Man.
We're going to be talking about a number of these updates. There's not going to be much to say on Group Iron Man today. Just as a heads up, I know a lot of you are asking if there's going to be questions on that. That is a topic we will 100% be talking about in the future. Today, though, we're going to run through a lot of these updates. Expect to hear more on Sanctum of Rebirth, on Osseous, on mining and smithing, and a whole bunch more. So stick around. First up, it's time to talk combat and a little bit more about those June and July updates we announced a few months ago. See you in a sec.
I hope we can trade Araxa pieces. I mean, I'm sure you can trade anything to each other. Oh, here we go. I can get an actual screenshot of this now. A decent screenshot. I'm just going to post this in the Discord for those that weren't. There we go. Right, I'm just going to pause it pause my recording until they come back.
And welcome back to the show. Now you've seen this year's roadmap. We've had a lot of fun watching chat, by the way, and all your differing opinions. It's been a lot of fun.
Greg, there's a penguin.
It's time to give you some first details.
Have you seen the penguin, Greg?
But pieces of content that we have planned for you. Some more than others, depending on where we are in development, but we want to give you a really good feel for everything we've announced.
Why can't I make this
as
bigger?
much a level as we can. So, to talk combat and some about our existing announced content for May and June, let's say a warm hello to Mod Blackwitch.
Hello.
Oh, I was waiting for the switch there. Mod Sponge.
Whoa, going straight over. Yo, hey, hi.
I like to spice things up. And Mod Roman.
Hello.
Hey everyone. So, right, firstly, let's talk about Osseous, because that is coming up, as players have seen in the in-game calendar, just a couple weeks away. We're going to keep this lighter, because it is something already known. But can you give us a quick overview of Osseous? What are we expecting from this content?
Yeah, no problem. Osseous is the fourth matriarch. What camera are we on? That one. I'll talk to you. Osseous is the fourth matriarch. It came from a game jam project inspired by
I mean, obviously, because I'm covered in them, but...
and a bunch of others. They had it as a game jam project. A lot of the community was super interested in this, so we brought it to light, and I was the developer that was lucky enough to work on it, bring their vision to life. As expected, it does sit in line with the other matriarchs, with necromancy being the weakness and damage style it deals. But we wanted to do a little bit more of a twist. We learned from the feedback that we had from the other matriarchs when we released them. So we made this one a little bit stronger, a little bit more mechanical, but again, to set expectations, it is a mid-level boss. So for those people rocking their Raziel lanterns and Raziel gear, you're probably going to go in and smash it. But
Thank you.
it's a mid-tier boss. So there is a quest that precedes it. So this is to sort of soft lock it behind a 70 necromancy level. So for those players with 70 necromancy and I believe 30 or 55 archaeology, you'll be able to complete this quest and you'll have access to
I'm lucky, I've got 63 archaeology.
Awesome. Look,
I hate archaeology.
I know we're going to reveal this full very soon. We'll actually be giving people a look at this next week. So we'll save most of this conversation for then. But can you tell us something sneaky we might not already know about the Osseous update?
something sneaky. Oh, there's 4 pets.
Oh, I mean that is sneaky.
Yeah.
That's a sneaky drop.
There's 4 pets.
And did someone say skelly velociraptors?
Not very good at paleontology, are you? Is
No,
it
I'm not.
paleontology, the bones?
No, I don't
No,
know if you know this though.
No, there's going to be mini bony dinos, but yeah.
Good. I'm looking forward to showing
What,
you
as
that.
pets?
For
Or-
more information on that. Next week we'll give you a full look at Osseous. Look, we also want to touch very quickly on the archaeology dig site coming in July for Demonheim. Big props to the mods. Obviously, we wanted to have here as well.
Such an amazing team effort. Like there
Yeah.
were loads of people. We could have got the whole team on here, and this would be like.
Unfortunately, we don't have the
Yeah,
seats, which is
yeah.
the fun of
We've
this
run
setup.
out of chairs.
But we do have the lovely mod Blackwitch with us as well to talk about it. And Doom, obviously, you've got some information as well. So,
Yes.
what can you tell us firstly, Blackwitch, about the new dig site?
Who's
What's going
Mod
on there?
Doom?
So yeah, new archaeology dig site. I think mini dig site set on Demonheim, which was started as a game jam project by mod KOC and mod Froach and mod Kitsune, I think it is. And they've been working on it for quite a while now, specifically targeting like
head of
some
the
level
community
gaps that
stuff?
there were in
Oh,
archaeology
okay.
where you didn't really have anything new to uncover. So mod KOC really wanted to provide some new content there. So yeah, this comes with a new graphic update to the surface world of Demonheim.
Which people
A
did not
full
expect,
overhaul.
I think. We didn't even
Surprise.
expect.
I didn't
But it
expect
looks
that.
incredible. I cannot wait for you to see this thing. It's stunning.
Yeah, I think we went away, and then like I remember you mentioned at the end of one week, you were like, "Oh yeah, I've kind of pitched this idea to the rest of the environment team. It would be like cool."
Yeah, I had started doing a quick overhaul to the surface of Demonheim, and then asked mod Alex, like, hey, there's a few issues with it, because I kind of brushed it. Can you
Yeah.
just fix those? Then went on holiday to Edinburgh, came back, saw, like, first thing I saw were, like, really beautiful concepts.
Listen, let that be your last
for
holiday this
Demonheim.
year.
I was
Like, we need content.
interesting. And then he's completely overhauled it. So it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
It looks really good. It's way more imposing than what was there before. So can't wait for players to see that. But it also comes with a other new area that you uncover. There was already an image of it alluding to it in the roadmap. and
It's the one on the roadmap, right?
yes, it is. And there's also already a white box on my Twitter, but for anyone who wants to see it. But yeah, it's very exciting.
Oh, look,
It's-
she just
it's
dropped
so
her
cool,
Twitter
and
link
it's
there. Do you
super
see that?
atmospheric, And
Follow me on
it's, like,
Twitter.
just a really imposing area deep below Demonhive's surface. No, not that one.
Not that one.
No.
I was, when you
Yes,
said new
no.
area, I was like, I know where their brains are going.
No, it's not floor 61. However, there should be some nice.
Or are we
things
just
in there
saying
for
that?
players.
No, I'm not gonna. No,
Don't
it's not. I
start
promise you, Jack.
Yeah, the other thing was just to touch on that Molkeris has very passionately spoken to me about this, being like, I couldn't stand there being gaps in the archaeology leveling. So it is levels 73 to 87. There will be stuff for you. And then when you go deeper, it's 103 to 113. So there's stuff in there now, and mysteries, and a relic, and artifacts. So lots of cool stuff for you to get stuck into, which is amazing.
Yeah, and again, it won't be too long till we give you a look at that content either. We want to really focus on what we announced today.
Better get grinding,
So
Greg.
by no means are we giving these a quick skim over for any reason other than that. We really can't wait for you to see them, and hopefully you'll have a lot of fun with them when they release. So on that note, Sanctum of Rebirth. He says, looking at Mod Sponge. So we introduced a whole bunch of terminology when I was talking about that earlier. So Firstly, let's start about like what is Sanctum of Rebirth if you had to describe it in just a few lines.
Ooh, that's the first word of the line. So it's a.
It's the musical edition, I see.
It's similar to an Elite Dungeon, but it is essentially a boss dungeon for 1 to 4 players, and it's set in some part of the underworld. Which part? You'll find out later.
Interesting. That's okay.
Okay.
It's a very aloof pitch, but I love it. Elevator pitch was the word I was looking for. Words hard today. So why a boss dungeon? I think that's probably a question people ask is like, why did we not just make an elite dungeon with this content? Why this kind of new boss-to-boss content?
So we kind of wanted to trial something different. You see with a lot of previous elite dungeons, players are like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if I could do boss 1 and then boss 2 and boss 3 and not have to do the chaff in between? And we were kind of like, yeah, that would be cool. So let's trial it, add it as a different type of content we can do if players like it. And if not, hey-ho, we go back to Elite Dungeons if we want them. So yeah, it's kind of, why not? Let's try it.
Because I know that was a lot of the feedback that we got with when we recently, feels recent, it's probably a lifetime ago, time's an illusion, when we made the change to Zamorak and Undercity, where it used to be 25 runs and then it was like, oh, it's just one and then you get to fight Zamorak. That change was something that players really resonated with because it was just like, I just want to fight the bosses. I just want to fight the big bads.
Yeah, exactly.
Staying on the subject of big bads, are they brand new bosses? Are they drag drop from existing bosses? Are they kind of, have we like stuck 2 bosses together and we put like KBD on Kerapak or something? Like,
Oh, this would be interesting.
We just took Giant Mole. We went, what if you were somewhere else?
Full Giant Mole.
You killed Giant Mole on the surface, and now he's in the underworld. You just killed him. No, it's 3 new bosses.
Ooh.
There's some clear inspirations from other places, but it's absolutely new bosses with some pretty unique stuff going on.
I assume when we say
T95
3
giant
new
mole
bosses,
weapons.
this is still very much that elite dungeon format, right? So I'm assuming the boss difficulty kind of going from one to the other will probably be kind of that same gradual ramp up, right? Is that a fair assumption,
I think that's fair to say. I think that's fair to say. They are similar to Elite Dungeon bosses. Because we were able to get rid of the chaff, though, they're probably slightly more complex.
Right.
Not necessarily as complex as Zamorak, because obviously Zamorak was a huge, huge project. That was very evil.
Yeah,
I was like, it was just part evil, part trauma.
But yeah, they will be more, I want to say, mechanically complex than, say, Crassian Leviathan, where he's just like head slamming everywhere, and that's all he does.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The head slam's killed me, so it's some sort of mechanic.
Yeah, it catches everyone.
It's a slight skill issue, it's fine, don't worry about it. Building on from that, new bosses, they got to drop something, right? Like, are we looking that there's going to be, because we kind of alluded to it when we spoke about the roadmap, right?
Spiritweed seeds. That's what I've got for you.
Sounds about right.
More charms.
Spirit seeds, dwarf seeds.
So yeah, they will release the tier 95 magic dual wield weapons.
Magic dual wield weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to have some other drops as well. We won't go into those right now because some stuff's still being finalized on them. But yeah, tier 95 magic dual wield for sure. Something else that's really cool. I'm pretty hyped about it. But yeah, that covers the rewards nicely, I think.
Amazing.
Couple questions I want to ask you. So obviously, one of the questions we always get with PVM content talks about Osseous being kind of more of a mid-level boss. We've mentioned this has normal and hard mode. Do we have any particular kind of target of combat player we're looking to? I know we don't like to kind of put our combat on a scale, but are we thinking, is this going to maybe be something that top-end players, our really experienced PVMers are going to find some challenge in? Where's kind of our intention?
If we've got T95, I'd imagine it's going to be towards the top end.
I don't know if we had mentioned normal and hard mode before you just mentioned normal and hard mode. So
there
is a normal and a hard mode as a start, in case we didn't make that clear. So we're kind of taking Elite Dungeons and doing a spin on it. So Elite Dungeons had story mode and normal mode. Story mode didn't really serve anyone because it was kind of for players that couldn't do normal mode, but then it was so unrewarding you didn't want to do it anyways. So instead we're going with normal mode and hard mode, where normal mode, it's it takes the essence of story mode, where it's a bit safer, but it's not necessarily much easier. It's safer in the sense of we're going to try out some new death mechanics, potentially, with the intention that you won't feel scared to go and get involved and go and try it out. Whereas then hard mode will be more of your more common, what you're used to bossing experience.
Yeah, and that's a really important note. I'm glad you touched on this. This is going to be my second question. I know we've talked a little bit about it. There's some new ideas floating around for this dungeon, even potentially a new way of thinking about when we're talking about Tier 95 weapons and how we might approach that with the community. Do you want to give us a little bit of information on that? How are we going to be working with players on this?
Do I want to know? Will I? Yes.
Tier 120.
So with the Tier 95 weapons, time permitting, we're going to run a beta with a chunk of effects. Not sure how many yet, but we've got some ideas for what we want them to do. We're going to put on a beta, get community feedback, see what they like, and go from there. So if there's something that really resonates with community, then we'll go with that one. It saves us making the decisions.
I'm honestly,
That's
I'm
a
so
good
excited
idea.
'cause we've never really kind of gone, hey, what would you want the Tier 95 kind of special effect or route we take it in to be? So this will be quite interesting if we end up being able to do it. I know we've talked about it, it's really exciting. And I know players can expect to hear more from us soon, basically on, you know, that death mechanic you've been talking about. We're going to be talking about that with the community very, very soon. So this is just some of the ways we're trying to take that community-driven development into these early projects. And yeah, there's a lot more, I think, to talk about really next week when we drag you back on stream. Just held you to that publicly.
Unwillingly.
You
So that's,
can't say no
that's
now.
my
so
show.
We got it.
That's
We got
good.
it. There's a couple of other bits I know on the roadmap that we kind of touched on. We kind of glanced over them. The necromancy helm with the Slayer conjure
Creature.
Slayer creature, necro conjure. Word salad. It's all a bit much. And then with adding new stuff, there's also a lot of conversation around balancing. So is there any? I know that the combat update was something we really looked at with the beta at the beginning of the year. Is there anything more that we're going to be doing in that regard?
Yes, it's not fixed on the roadmap. I think you heard Mod Marcos talk about a bit earlier, where kind of leaving room for devs to develop and kind of fill those gaps. So we're definitely not forgetting about balancing. There's a lot of improvements still we want to make to combat. They might not be as big as the combat beta was. There might be a small thing here or there inside another project or as a project itself. But yeah, it's definitely not going to miss.
Right, I am going to end it there because everyone's now mentioning stuff with Sliske in chat, so you better run before. This is like your demon. It haunts you wherever you go. But thank you very much, everyone, and thank you, everyone, for giving us a look at that. As I mentioned, we're going to be talking about Sanctum of Rebirth very, very soon. Stay tuned towards the end of the show. We'll let you know when you can get involved in some of those discussions and what you can expect to hear. For now, we're going to take a short break, and we will be right back with some more JMods to talk about skilling content. See you in a
Don't
sec.
go anywhere.
What?
Hello all. Hooli looks wildly different. He's been replaced by Mod Jack. Hello.
Hi. I'm
There.
sad I can't read the stream chat anymore.
Ah, heartbreaking. No, you get to see the bullet points. So we are going to get ready to chat all things skilling. We are also
here we
joined
go.
by the wonderful and illuminating Mod Shrike, Mod Breezy, and Mod Stew. So thank you very much for joining us. It's super, super exciting. So we've been showing off some skilling content on the roadmap. And so the first thing I wanted to talk about is the skilling boss. What is our intention for that core experience of this skilling boss? Is this a solo boss, a group boss? Is this different mechanics? Is this going to be the same skills as Croesus? What are we looking at?
So I'm going to preface all of this by saying that we've basically only just started working.
It does
on
look
the
like an
skilling
episode of
boss. It's a little
Countdown,
way
doesn't
out
it?
Still, so a lot of what I'm saying is going to be work in progress. In terms of our design intentions, it is building on what we've learned from Croesus. It will be different skills. It will be a different vibe, different aesthetic. Solo and groupable, I think, is our intention as well. We'd like for both to be possible.
Nice.
And yeah, kind of just, this will be our second skilling boss. So building on what we've learned before and seeing what new stuff we can do as well.
Amazing. So
The fact that you can
Croesus
solo it
obviously
is
was
going to be
part of
huge.
Such a massive narrative arc. I'm going to use the term
Yeah.
arc. Croesus obviously fit in with the narrative. Are we looking for something similar here with the new? I'm just going to say new skilling boss.
Yeah, yeah. It will be very heavily tied into the Sanctum of Rebirth. There's basically 3 updates that are pretty much being developed in tandem. So we've got the Sanctum of Rebirth, we've got the skilling boss, and we've got the accompanying quest as well. So they will all be packaged up and in the same location, dealing with the same themes, that kind of stuff. It will have some kind of tie-in to the wider story as well via the quest. But yeah, expect it to be thematically similar to Sanctum of Rebirth and using the story established there to do its thing.
Super. Very, very cool. There was a little bit of conversation when it appeared on the roadmap of people saying, "Oh, Croesus is gone." No, I think our intention is to make sure that this sits.
It's additive.
Alongside
It's
it.
additive. Croesus is a really popular encounter. People, if you look at the data, a lot of people play Croesus.
I want to say it's our second
one of the most popular
it's our
encounters
second
out
most
there,
popular.
which is
Second
amazing
most
to see.
played boss.
So we're kind of giving players more of that and experimenting a bit, and you see what Old School can do with their skilling bosses. What can we learn from that? What can we bring into RuneScape to spice things up and make things more, give a bit
Absolutely.
more variety?
And I think that one of the key things that from the conversations that we've had internally around it is, and I've seen chat mentioning it, is the approach towards public grouping and contributions and how loot is disseminated. And I think that that's something that we're factoring into our approach.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah,
that's,
so it'll definitely be learning from Croesus and well, excuse me, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. But
No,
yeah,
yeah,
definitely
it's
learning
okay.
from Croesus, definitely seeing what we can do to build on it.
Yeah,
basically,
I think
Sorry, I
it's-
had a thought there, and then it just exited my
hey,
brain.
Don't worry about it.
One of the main concerns that we looked at was whether or not your reward depends on other people's performance.
Yeah.
Essentially, that we want to make sure, whether it's solo, whether it's group, that you get the reward based on your performance, not based on the
Yeah.
performance of everyone else.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And so the combination of both being able to comfortably group, knowing that your contribution is what impacts it, and also being able to solo it gives you the option to pick and choose which one's more comfortable to you. That's awesome.
People
But
are
the
shouting in
skilling boss is
chat
only
for
one
more
part of this
fresh
whole
start
sort of
worlds.
skilling.
If they did fresh start worlds
I
with
don't know
Group
what you
Iron Man,
call it.
that would be
Area.
sick.
The skilling area
Bit
of this
thing.
whole bit thing, that, of this year. So the other part of this is one of the most cryptic things on our roadmap, skilling updates. So, putting you on the spot, more breezy, what can you tell us about these skilling updates? What kind of thing are we looking at?
I think I might throw that question back over to Mod Jack.
Well, you were going to talk about the purpose of them, and then I'll talk about what's coming up.
Sure, yeah,
in the
sure.
future.
Yeah, so we want to give our players a regular cadence of skilling updates. We want to give players things to do, things to chase for, new items to obtain, things to upgrade, new objectives, just overall RuneScape objectives, things that add to your RuneScape life, your RuneScape career. It's been a while really since we've had a regular drop of
Uno
all that sort of
reverse
stuff, and
card.
That's something we want to get back to because that's what makes part of RuneScape's core.
Amazing. That's brilliant. I know that the skillers out there are going to love that, and they're going to be really looking forward to having more updates for them. Skillers out there, hi, I see you. You're probably clicking on a tree right now. Hi. So what do we kind of hope that this is leaning towards in terms of the kind of skiller that we're aiming for? Is there a kind of content that we're hoping to create in that sense?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be content that's available for everyone to interact with. Granted, they have the levels, and that being really up at the high end, aiming around the 99 area. So definitely look out for more news on it very soon.
Super. That's exciting. That is good, because I'm sure that a lot of people are really excited for just more things to look forward to as they're getting up through those
Yeah,
levels.
the level
I know
3
that
skilling bots are going to be loving this update.
agility, my beloved. There's nothing there. It's okay. Don't worry. it's fine. We're just going to do anachronia laps for the rest of time. It's okay. That's our punishment. But outside of that, there's going to be some really cool opportunities for us to explore, which is super, super cool.
That's one of the things I think that we took away from Fort Forent 3 is there was a lot of skilling content there, but a lot of it was very mid-game. And it just wasn't giving top-end players anything to do, and so we want to make sure that we're addressing that.
Amazing.
So when we talk about regular skilling content, we talk about regular high-end skilling content.
Yeah, about that. Just creating something that feels additive when you're hitting hitting that 99 and being like, well, here I am for the next forever. Just adding something to break that up is really, really cool and super important. That's awesome. I'm really excited to it. And so, have you guys heard of the mining and smithing update?
Funnily enough, all three of us worked on it. Jack was the lead designer. Breezy, I think you were QA at the time.
I was,
right?
yeah.
And myself developing it. So really good team of people to be working on further work on mining and smithing.
Super. What can players expect to see in this kind of update to a skill that everyone knows and loves? What kind of changes are we looking at?
That sounds like one for me. I do have some notes prepared because the ink is still wet on this design. We've just done like a week of development on it so far.
That's quite all right.
So we're adding primal variants of the 10 demon ores. So that's like Novite up to Promethium. Primal versions of those to new mining sites on the surface. You'll smelt primal ore into primal bars, which will then smith into primal armor and equipment. This includes the next tier of ore box, upgradable primal pickaxes, the new best in slot augmentable pickaxe, and a masterwork weapon.
Masterwork
Very
weapon?
Nice. That's a lot. That's a lot
best
on
in
that.
slot
Or a lot to
pickaxe.
smelt. I don't really know what you would. The smithing equivalent of unpacking is. Anyway, chat's going crazy. We love to see that.
Yeah, good.
The chat is so tantalizingly close, I can almost see it.
I know. Sorry, do you want?
No,
I'll
get distracted.
You're going to get distracted.
I'll
I
get
know you
distracted
will.
by it.
It'll be like the old design streams. You'll be like, oh, someone in the chat, and then you'll just go on a bit of a. Anyway, so what do we feel like is the continued value of this in terms of expanding on the skills that we have? What do we?
I think 120 mining and smithing, you'd need
approach
close to
these
it.
skills?
Yeah, it's we want to add skilling content that's meaningful and useful, that gives you something to do, something to work towards, but then has an ongoing relevance. So we need to make sure there's new consumables to create and sell. The masterwork weapon that Stu mentioned is quite relevant. So that will be a new top-end weapon, but it won't be making. We'll go into more detail in the future about how it's going to work, but that won't be making existing best in slot items redundant.
Mm-hmm.
But it will be something that you'll want to have probably. It's tricky to talk about without getting into the balancing. So we do want to make sure that the skills sort of are relevant at top end and stay relevant at top end. So something to do.
Everybody
on launch
panic
and
sell everything.
relevance within the economy. That's really
Super.
important.
That's awesome because I know that, especially when
It's
speaking
like
to the
the
community
reverse of
throughout
COVID.
4.3,
Instead of
it's
panic
like
buying, everyone's going to be
building
panic
stuff that's
selling
really
now.
cool, for example, like being at 80 construction. It's like, this is awesome. I can finally build the chapel and I can upgrade it to this tier. But then it kind of is like, I haven't got anything to produce.
Yep.
I can't go any further with this. So us being able to produce stuff that's aspirational and pushing you to reach those levels and then giving you something for it and giving you a resource and getting everything moving is really cool. That's a very, very promising opportunity. And going on for what you alluded to, we have some plans on how we're going to talk to players about this, right? We're going to sort of try and...
So I've been a little vague about what we're talking about here. We'll be doing a blog and a live stream either next week or the week after to go into more detail about what this update actually is in more detail and get feedback on that. So I don't want to rush over it now.
Yeah, we're gonna try and talk through our reasoning, explain it, and be a bit more thorough with our conversation so that you guys are all with us for the journey and understand where we're coming from so that you're not like, what are you...
The same person keeps spanning the same thing.
As Stu mentioned, so we've started development.
Fresh
on the
Start
Mining
Worlds
Smithing update. We
2.
also have a woodcutting and fletching update.
It wasn't on the roadmap.
So there'll be room between the two to talk a bit and gather feedback on, how did it work?
Yeah.
What could we do differently for our other skills, that sort of thing. Try to make sure we're doing it right.
Amazing. And you can look forward to being more closely involved with that.
Oh,
the
Josh.
community getting involved with it.
You've
being
missed a
part,
lot,
following us along with the
but
journey,
I'm
every step of the way.
everything I'm
Super
recording
exciting.
now is
But
going on YouTube.
keeping it brief, keeping it very high level. Don't want to get too much into the weeds with everything because we're going to be going through a lot more detail in the future. So thank you so much for running through that content with us. Wonderful, wonderful mods. We'll be back with a final section in just a mo, where we're going to be running through some lore and season stuff. Seasonal event stuff, not season stuff. It's across the whole year, you don't need to worry about that. And then let you know about some exciting ways I'm pointing at the camera, I'm going to make another meme, can help shape the content ahead for RuneScape. So we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. See you in a sec. Hello everyone, Hoolie's back, but Modjack is also over there. Through some sort of advanced alchemy, we've managed to maintain this illusion. The realities of stream production. But anyway, it's time to talk lore and seasonal events. I got it right this time, let's go. And joining us to give some first details are Mod Luma, Mod Ramen, and Modjack.
Hey folks. Right, so let's talk about the first thing. Just in case it's not really clear, it might seem like an obvious question, but in the roadmap, we use this kind of new term, story quest. Kind of sounds obvious, but it means something specific to us. Can you just be really clear, what is a story quest?
So a story quest is just a proper quest that ties into the storyline. So there was a bit of confusion last year about, there were some mini quests that were sort of presented as quests.
Yeah.
There are seasonal quests that are presented as quests. So we just want to make sure that when we say story quest, we mean a quest tied into the storyline, something like Ancient Awakenings.
So something that kind of brings us forward, that keeps the storyline moving forward. Okay, cool, really, really cool. We've talked, obviously, in that roadmap, there's 2 quests planned, is that correct? And then we've got a few more outside of that coming in seasonal events too, is that right?
Yeah, so committing to story quests doesn't then mean we can't also have mini quests that tie into content, or seasonal quests, that sort of thing. It's just, that isn't a sort of major roadmap thing. There can also be other things on top of that.
Yeah, so let's talk about story quests very quickly. Obviously, it's really hard to talk about quests and lore without like spoiling everything. It's always the trouble we have. We try and show these lovely quests on streams without ruining them. It's a delicate balance, but I think briefly, Requiem for a Dragon, obviously, hopefully a lot of you loved it. I certainly did. We talked about that ending the Fort for a Free storyline, as well as having the cutest undead Forky moment of my life. Can you give an indication of the kind of storyline we're headed into, or are we still in this story? What's going on?
Yeah, so it's a bit of a misnomer to say that it ended the storyline. For me, the storyline has a relatively objective definition of when it doesn't have the same requirements as a new storyline. So because it will be continuing with the same requirements, the next quest will require Requiem for a Dragon. It's part of the same storyline, so you're still Duke of the Fort.
More like a new chapter then?
Exactly, yeah. It's like the next part
I feel like
of the
it's walked
story.
into
It's
a
not a
Modjack
whole new storyline.
design stream.
Yeah, we've set him up. We've given him a platform now. So
don't ask me an open-ended question.
We just need the boiler in the background on the screen behind him.
Yeah.
Authentic design stream experience.
I guess just an open question. Is there anything you want to say about kind of our thoughts about the future?
Elemental
we don't really
Workshop
want to spoil any
16.
story, and that'd be unfair to all the lore fans watching. But is there anything around the quest specifically that you'd like to?
I mean, it's kind of implied. It's implied from the content that we've launched, and it's implied on the picture of the roadmap. Bilrak is still there. We're going to be looking more at his plans and where he's going. But I don't really want to talk about it in detail.
And I hear there might be a tie into the skilling boss, and is that a current thought?
Yeah, so the first quest will tie together Sanctum of Rebirth and the skilling boss and the storyline itself.
Oh, so is the skilling boss also in Sanctum of Rebirth, is what you're saying, just not in that piece of content?
He's saying too much.
There you go, everybody. We talked about not
shut up,
spoiling
Modjack.
requests. Okay, cool. So that's good. Just wanted to make sure we talked about this. I know there's a lot of questers out there who want to see the storyline continue, and it's a very difficult topic for us to broach, but an important one, I think.
Yeah, we always want to show that quests and lore is and the narrative is still so important to us, and it's such a fundamental part of what RuneScape is. But also we know that we don't want to just drop spoilers and just be like, here's what the story is and here's how it ends, because that experience day one of seeing people in the official Discord, in the lore channels, being like, oh my god, and then in the different community spaces reacting to stuff is so important and such a magical moment. Like so many of the quests that have come out that we've seen, that day one experience has been so important. We don't want to.
They've got a point though. I know people want to know what's going on, but they can't ruin it, because if they tell you, then when it comes out, it's not fun, it's not exciting, and they've spent all that time on that content for nothing.
Don't even get me started on Halloween. It's
Sorry, seasonal quests, seasonal events.
Seasonal events, yes. So there was a lot of feedback when we initially broached the subject of having a new seasonal summer hub, and then we've kind of had to make those adjustments because we heard your feedback. It was super important that we made sure that we took that on board. There was a lot of concern that we would also be listening to feedback and cancelling Halloween as well. I was one of those people. I am among the many to see that it is still in there. I am overjoyed.
Now with Halloweeny colours.
Mod ramen.
Ramen approved Halloween colours.
Honestly.
On the logo.
Yeah. Just to clarify, I want to throw this question out there. Is it a brand new event, and are we still taking that feedback on board about the balance between time limited but recurring annual content and permanent content? What's the sort of, are we trying to make sure that we strike a balance?
Yeah, for sure. We want to make sure we have a healthy balance of, that permanent content in game, but not forgetting about seasonal events and leaving them behind. So obviously we heard that and we took that on board with the summer event. So we are reactivating the beach with some small quality of life changes, but not like a huge new summer hub, which was originally planned. I think it's also worth mentioning as well, setting up the new hubs as we've done with Christmas, as we've done with Easter, as we will be doing with Halloween. That's a huge bulk of the work done, and once that's done,
the Halloween event would be pretty cool.
Work in future years to add new content to it.
Is she wearing a necromancy t-shirt?
That's a lot of why we saw. That's why when you look at the roadmap for December or winter, I should say. I don't want to say December, winter. We've got the story quest and the hub at the same time, because we can have
the seasonal quest.
The seasonal quest within the hub. So there's kind of 2 quests coming out very, very quickly in short succession, because we don't have to be like, we have to make a new hub. What do we? We don't have to worry about that. It's already done. The hassle of that is over. So now we can just plug new stuff in, expand on it, iterate on it, make changes.
That doesn't mean we're not going to give something like Christmas Love, though, right? There is going to.
No,
can you give us an indication of like what that would be for like one of the returning hubs?
Okay, yeah.
I guess Christmas being our first.
So yeah, Christmas Village 2024 this year, as it will be called, right? 2024,
yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it'll be the first hub that's returning. So it will mean that all the activities you had there will be there, including returning of the Black Party hat. So more opportunities to re-earn that. I hope I was allowed to say that.
Probably not.
But then, like if you didn't get to play It's No Bother last year, you'll be able to come and then
everyone's
replay
going
that
to
quest.
start panic selling their Black Party hats
for
now.
that period while the Christmas Village is active. If we are doing another quest, so another quest will take place in this hub. So the plan for the hubs was to, okay, cool, set up an area, make it beautiful, make it like really magical, really harking back to the original sort of holiday events we had. We called it corporate Christmas, and like what we mean by that is like you want to be walking out of Tesco's, right? You see your red, you Santa, all your stuff. This was the sales pitch for it.
Other supermarkets are available.
Yeah, other supermarkets are, well, no branding. But like you want to jump into the game, and everything you've seen around you is what you're experiencing in real life. So it'll be returning, and then like the plan was to push the hubs sort of outward. So like you may have a stream up there or some woodland, and if we need to sort of dig into that for some area for a quest, we'll be able to do that. But as Luma said, the bulk of the work is done with the environment. It's now we'll be able to, because like whenever we did holiday events, so much effort. Like if you think about like the Halloween ones from 2011, Web of Shadows 2000, around that point. Wasted like resource, like we didn't bring them back, so the amount of art, effort and resource and animations that went into that don't get to see the light of day again. So it's about making something that has a return on investment and will return sort of constantly. So yeah, everything you saw last Christmas coming back plus more.
I'm sold. It is early. It is a bit early doors to talk about this, but it's never too early for me, because I've been thinking about it since November 1st. What kind of ideas have we got bouncing around for a Halloween event? We know it's the right colour.
Come on, darling, you got to tell us.
But outside of that, what else? What else is on the cards?
I mean, it's worth saying, work hasn't started on it yet, and we're also not the team who will be working on it. But
now's your chance. Still,
as with Easter and Christmas, we've obviously wanted to be like quintessential Halloween. Your pumpkins, your skeletons, your classic characters like Death and Muncher. Continuing it to be set in Renmark. So obviously Christmas was the land of snow, Easter was the land of glade, so Halloween, land of, I think it's called harvest. And yeah, reintroducing things, I think, from old events will probably be looked to. Obviously, there's quite a few good Halloween locations there. You've got Death's Mansion, you've got the Spider Realm, you've got the Death
Spider
Realm.
Realm.
I know people fans of. So I think just
I'm gonna love it
looking
there.
to old events and taking ideas from them. while also keeping it quintessential Halloween. There's a lot there to work with. Lots of people very, very excited about this project internally.
Yeah.
People, like, everyone's sort of desperate to work on Halloween.
Yeah. I know that Mod Black Witch and Mod Alex and a couple of the other environment art team were like, okay, we are actually going to fight to try and figure out who gets to do the event.
You have to have a live stream pitch battle.
And they're having to like divvy up custody.
I mean, working on the
different
Halloween event
environments
would
for,
be a
like,
pretty
all
cool
the stuff
job,
on the-
right? If you're a
on the
dev.
roadmap, being like, okay, I really want to do Halloween, so I'll give you this, and then you give me Halloween, and they've been bartering over it, and so you know it's going to be good when they're that desperate to get involved with it. It's so exciting.
I guess just one question from me, like, I hope everyone looks at our roadmap and thinks, wow, that's quite a lot coming out in a 6 odd month period.
I would certainly hope so.
Do we expect Halloween to be similar in scale to Easter or Christmas? Do we even know that question yet? Are we maybe thinking of it being a bit smaller? Do we have any indication at this point of kind of how it might sit against the other two events?
I'd say a bit more similar to Christmas. Easter was quite big.
Easter went nuts with the hub. Like,
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
but
it's absolutely stunning, and like there's that room to expand. But yeah, it'll be it will either sit where Christmas sat or in between the two. We want to make sure that we're not like making a really sparse place where you don't want to make a place and fill it with content. You want to make content and then like slot it nicely and into the hub, and then let's expand in the future.
Yeah, I think that was one of the things that I, even as someone who isn't the most jolly or festive of Christmassy people, walking around the Christmas hub and just seeing the amount of people condensed in that space,
that's always the best,
with so many different things to do, I was like, oh, this is really nice. But then with Easter, it was like lovely and expansive.
How can you say you're not jolly or Christmassy enough? Is it because you wear all black?
Look at me. No.
I mean, if that was the case, like Mod Black Witch still has a Christmas tree up, so
Yeah, it's still up. It's
not a rule
It's
set.
still dying. It's very goth. It's very
Still got a
goth.
Christmas tree up,
Um,
Jesus.
One last quick question about events, because I know people in chat have already mentioned it. I know people have been talking about this for ages. As soon as we were like, it's the beach, 2 words, dung hole? Question mark?
No, I'm kidding. It's not gone. It's still there. It's totally still there. Yeah, dung hole, of course, it's still there.
I don't know if we could survive releasing the beach without it anymore.
Yeah,
Because it used to not
exactly.
be every year, right, in the beach, and then it became like a permanent fixture.
We did suggest a skilling goal that you had to dig the hole yourself. It was a community goal that we were like, okay, you want it, you have to earn it, you have to dig the hole yourself, and then you unlock it.
That would
But
be dug in an
TLDR,
hour.
Demon Home is going to look beautiful, but then you're going to be jumping into a dungeoneering hole to train. That's classic RuneScape, right? So good. Well, thank you very much. Obviously, I wish we could do more of a service to the lore and the seasonal events team. The amount of work and love and care that goes into this part that we can't often give you half as much details or and kind of lead you into what's going on is always a bit frustrating for us. But thank you very much.
Are we going to get triple key offer?
At least talking as
Do you
much as
reckon?
we can. About
Any
these
news on
things, and I'm
triple key
excited to
offers?
see very much about what Halloween's going to look like. So I guess we'll say a quick goodbye to our lovely
Yes.
J-Mods.
Thank you so much.
There we have it. So we've got one last thing to talk to you about. We are just about to wrap up. That is the first look at our rest of year roadmap and the content held within. There is one more thing we wanted to talk about, and that's about how you can get involved in the future of RuneScape. Now, as we discussed at the top of the show, last year we began involving the community more into what we do when it comes to development. And this year we've been setting up to take that even further. So let's take a look at how you can play an active part in the development of our future content, beginning as early as next week. So, I said beginning as early as next week, I meant this week. So, at the end of this show, right on RuneScape.com, the 2024 player survey will be released. Now, I know some of you before have felt like, oh, I'm not sure if the quarterly surveys have much impact. They are really important to us. I can't stress that enough. And I just want to touch on that and just say it's a really, really important thing to fill out for us, but this one especially. And I'll let Mod Doom kind of talk a little bit about why that is.
Yes, I mean, I can personally attest to how important those surveys are. Mod Bam, who is Mod Hoolie's manager, constantly cites those surveys all the time. They're such a crucial part of informing how we progress. So this is the next step in that.
I mean, surveys are good if you act on them. I've got to give it to them. They've acted on a lot that's been asked.
Thinking, Holy Zamorak, what is he on about? We have literally just been looking at 2024 we cannot be going that far ahead. But right. Part of our vision isn't just the planned content. It's making sure that the stuff that we aren't even showing you yet, beyond that, is informed by you as well. We want to make sure that we're better informed, making smarter decisions. We've got that survey in place that we want you to get involved with. We've been using them to really get a crucial understanding of how you're feeling right now, especially retrospectively about the last 3 months. That's been super important, but this is distinct and different in that you're going to be taking a key part in potential directions we've identified.
Post it in the Discord, Greg.
This isn't, we're being like yes, no on something. It's not like that, but we want you to help us understand the kind of ways you're leaning and helping us shape our final 2025 roadmap. I can't believe I'm saying that right now, 2025 roadmap, but it's going to be playing a crucial part in that. You'll be influencing very early design decisions rather than granular, concrete stuff. I want to be very clear that this is sort of, we're looking slightly more
themes and directions and thoughts.
Yes, so it's a very useful, informative resource for us to be able to sit down and look at and say, okay, this is the kind of thing we're going for, rather than this is do this because it won top billing on the server or anything like that. So we really want you to get involved in that, and it would mean the world to me personally if you guys all got involved in it. Please.
Well, now you've got to do it, clearly. No, look, the 2025 roadmap is something we're already thinking about. We already have some really clear ideas on where we want to go. This is about adding your voice to that process, giving us indications and directions to build a roadmap that is essentially more better informed by you, whilst kind of taking that kind of design inspiration and excitement that this team can bring. So we're really excited to see that. It will also have a little bit of influence on what we're doing and what we've announced today on 2024. So it's a really cool way to add your voice to that process. So beyond that, we talked about this a little bit at the top of the show. We're going to be doing a Discord stage. So if you don't know what that is, it's kind of like a live podcast on Discord where you can come and contribute questions in a chat and influence the discussion of the show. I'm going to be sitting down with Marcos, who you heard at the top of the show. And this is going to be to give you a behind the scenes of what's been going on at the studio. How did we get to this point of being able to announce this roadmap? Maybe even go into a little bit of some of the challenges we faced, and maybe a little bit of reasoning behind some of our lack of communication in areas. Let's be very upfront. But we're really excited to talk to you about that. We want to, for those of you who are interested in it, we do want to provide you more insight and reason into what's been going on at the studio and how we've been building for the future. So I'm really excited to do that and hopefully kind of be more transparent and open with all of you. There's also a couple of things on the content front coming up as well.
Yes. Next week, we'll be diving into the Sanctum of Rebirth. Ooh, not actually physically diving into it because I don't know if we're even allowed to as mortals. I'm not going to think about the lore implications. Anyway, across a live stream and a blog, we're going to be sharing some of the new ideas we've got, and we want to hear your feedback.
Hopefully we see some gameplay.
You're going to get a first look at all the ideas we've got bouncing around in our collective heads, and then you're going to be able to weigh in on that, give some feedback, and let us know what you think, which is super exciting. I'm very, very, very excited for that. I cannot wait. We're also going to be keeping the development discussions going the week after with another live stream talking about skilling updates, focusing on how we feel is best for us to bring the content to existing skills with other topics as well. We'll be joined by Mod Jack, and we are super excited to involve you early on with this one. So it's going to be a really, really cool time.
It's also worth mentioning some of these dates we may shift slightly forward, especially that skilling update one. We're thinking like Osseous is coming out that day. We kind of want to give it some of the sun. But this is just to give you a general indication is we want this conversation to keep going. This is just the start of that, and it's something that we want to put concerted effort into. First with these kind of more immediate updates coming in July and August, and then obviously, or at least our targets, and then kind of looking beyond that, we'll look at where we go afterwards and how we have the conversations about things like the skilling boss, for example, and maybe even quests, who knows it. But we're always going to be thinking about how we can talk about our content earlier and bring you into that discussion. So, on that note, that is the end of the show. So right now, I'm hopeful that the lovely Modazana is hitting the publish button. You are going to be able to find pretty much everything we discussed about the roadmap on RuneScape.com right now in our new blog. On behalf of the whole RuneScape team, we want to say a massive thank you.
I'm recording this on YouTube and you come in with that.
We know there's been a lot of things going on behind the scenes here to get everything in place to be able to have this conversation with you. As we said, we'll talk about that more on the Discord staging on Friday. But we know at times that's caused a little bit of frustration around our communication and kind of the forward visibility you want. and that fear about the dreaded maintenance mode, which, as Marcos assured, we are not anywhere near. If you take anything from today, I hope sincerely you can see the love everyone at the studio has for the game, and I hope this roadmap feel like it respects your time, your money, and the love you put into RuneScape
This
as well.
roadmap is a big win.
We have a
for
long
RuneScape
future ahead of
players.
us, and
It's
RuneScape
a
isn't
massive
going
win.
anywhere. That's kind of what I wanted to end the show with. I guess, is there anything you want to end with as a final message?
We are so back.
I think, well, with that, I think that's a sign off. Have a wonderful week, Scapers. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us, and we will see you in Gillinor. Take care.
Fair play to them. I've got to give it to them. They definitely came at us with some great content coming up. The roadmap looks amazing. We've got Group Iron Man, new bosses, everything. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of this new roadmap. Do you think that this is good for RuneScape? Do you think that they missed something? What would you like to see added to the game? And I'll catch you on the next RuneScape video. We are going to start coming out with some RuneScape videos now on YouTube. Because I play the game a lot, so why not? Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe, all that jazz, and I'll see you in the next video.